And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Caffeinated Jiu-Jitsu. Today's conversation is one I have been really excited about, and I've been wanting to have this conversation for some time, but I needed to find the right guest because we are going to be talking about something that every grappler feels, even if they've never quite been able to maybe put it into the words. And that is it even took me some time to put it into words, and it's the transformational power of jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people start training for specific reasons. Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's self-defense, maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's because their kid quit and you didn't want to stick somebody for a contract. Maybe they just wanted to start something new. But somewhere along the way, we all know that it becomes more than just whatever the reason is that we started. So I did find that guest. Today I am joined by Ainslie Armstrong, and we are going to dig into how jiu-jitsu transforms people on and off the mat. But a little bit more about her. She is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt and very active competitor. And I remember watching her when I was kind of young in my journey, when I was a white belt, and she was tearing up the IBJJF mats. She formerly trained at Alliance. She is now training under Professor Bruno Frazato. Is that how you say it?
Risotto, yeah. Yeah.
At Frazato Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and also getting that extra time in at Octopus in Midtown in Atlanta, Georgia, under Master Roberto Traven. She is passionate about the sport, committed to continuous growth, which aligns exactly what we're talking about today. Growth through competition and her jiu-jitsu journey, and she's really focused on empowering more women, both on and off the mats, while she's also contributing to the future of the jiu-jitsu community. Welcome, Ainslie, to Caffeinated Jiu-Jitsu.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk.
Yeah, I hope that intro was good. I
Yeah,
always
oh my god.
I always worry about the intros, especially like before we hit record. We were talking about me having Fabio on, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to get all of that right?"
Yeah, no.
And when I had Jacare on, I messed up his rank. Can you believe that?
Oh my
Messed up
god.
his belt
What did you
rank.
call him?
I think I called him like 6th-degree black belt or something. It was something totally embarrassing. I can't believe I did it. But anyway,
That's
but I
funny.
got yours right.
Yeah, so
Welcome.
perfect.
And yeah, we've got a big conversation to have today. But before
Mhm.
we do that, let's hear your origin story. For those who don't know you, give us a little bit of background about yourself and how you started jiu-jitsu.
So, I started jiu-jitsu a little over 5 years ago, and it was a funny story because I it was right before I started college at Georgia State downtown. And I was gonna have to take MARTA, and I was so scared of MARTA, and I wanted to be able to protect myself, so I started for self-defense reasons, just to be able to, like, be downtown on my own and be able to take care of myself. But then when I found out more about, like, the competition aspect and how you can go through the ranks and grow, I really stuck with it and started competing. Been competing for a few years, like, I think I started at early white belt competing, like, my first one was in, like, Miami, and I got gold in that, and it was so fun. But after that, I was hooked. I've just been competing ever since. And a little over 6 months or so ago is when I transitioned over from Alliance to Frizato's Jiu-Jitsu and have been with him. And it's been so fun, just all focusing on competition. And that's kind of brought me to today. Yeah.
Yeah, how many times have you competed? How many times did you compete at blue belt? Do you even know?
At Blue Belt, oh,
It seemed like every weekend there was a new IG
yeah,
reel or
honestly.
post of your competitions.
So nice. I think I competed maybe around, like, 10 or so times, maybe
Yeah.
more, but try to do a lot of work up to, like, doing absolutes, because a lot of competitions I was just doing, like, my weight division, and then I eventually got comfortable enough to, like, do absolute, move up to that. So then I was getting some more medals, so it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Did you compete at white belt?
Yeah, white belts, I started and I missed the first Atlanta Open, and I was pissed. So then I went and I did, like, the next available one, which was in Miami. I flew down to Miami
Wow.
with Jacqueline, actually, which is so funny, and she just helped me out through the whole process, and I won that one, and then I was like, "Okay, I love this." It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so crazy to be around, like, that kinda culture, but I, like, was so focused and, like, so locked in. It was so fun. And then after that, I competed in, like, Atlanta Open a few times at white belt and won that and loved that. It's
Yeah,
fun when
I
you win.
yeah, I wish I could say I loved my first competition or competing after it, but it was a very short round.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out well for me, but I've competed I think 4 times now. I'm hoping to compete a little bit later this year, but I don't know kids sports and I'm helping out at Iron Wolf now with the kids class, which is a lot of fun. So I don't know if I do. I think it's going to be a little later in the year. Do you kind of remember? So you started because of you were scared to ride MARTA, which I think everyone in that knows anything about Atlanta is terrified of it. It's a horrible experience.
It really
I
is.
mean, people don't understand. It's bad. Like there's
No,
nothing
yeah. I
fun.
was coming from, like, Chamblee or Brookhaven,
Oh
so it was a
God,
long,
yes.
long trip down.
That's
It was a lot.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember kind of your maybe your first impressions when you started training? Like you talked about competing and your impressions there, but like that first time you stepped on the mat, do you think, "Oh my God, what have I got myself into?"
I was super into fitness at the time, and I didn't wanna compete in, like, CrossFit. I wasn't really doing that much CrossFit, but I wanted to do, like, athletic competition. I did not know what to do, and that's what all my coworkers at the time were saying too, because I worked at a gym. They were like, "You need to compete in something. You're training so hard for what?" And so when I got on the mats, I was like, "These it's an individual sport. It's still a team, but you do get to be there in your own journey." And so when I saw that and saw how much you could progress in your own way, I was like, "Oh, I love this." And when I got into the mats, I will say I was uncomfortable at first because it's just so new and I didn't know about all the touching. That was one thing. I had my intro lesson and the guy was like, "Okay, now you have to put, like, your head, like, on my chest for, like, side control." And I was like, "I don't know if I should
Yeah,
do
that's
that too."
close. Yeah.
That and they made me feel so comfortable. They were like, "Look around the room, like, everyone's doing that." And I did feel more comfortable, but it was definitely different at first.
Yeah, if you are claustrophobic or you don't like people like touching you in general, then
Mhm.
it takes a minute to get used to jujitsu, right?
For sure. Yeah.
What point did you start to realize that jujitsu was becoming more than just say a hobby for you? That you knew this was going to become a lifestyle and that you were going to heavily get into competing.
I feel like I knew pretty early on. I from the beginning was my goal was to be as, like, consistent as possible. Because those that I looked up to in the school, that was what they were doing. They were training almost every single day, consistently. They weren't, like, going sporadically or, like, whenever they felt like it. They were there no matter what, and so I kinda took that mentality and tried to apply it as early as white belt so that I could progress faster or as fast as I could, because I wanted to learn as much as possible. So, I knew, like, even before I got out of, like, fundamental classes, because like, through the Alliance curriculum, like, they have fundamentals your first, like, I wanna say, like, 60 days?
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Let me get these 60 days so I can start, like, live sparring," and it's, like, taking the test and everything, and through that, I was like, "Yeah, this is." I was, like, scheduling my classes around it. I was scheduling my, like, studying time, my work, everything was surrounded around jiu-jitsu, like, very early on, so I knew that it was gonna be something.
What were you doing back then?
I
Because you
was
do
working
personal training now,
Yeah, I
but
was personal
yeah,
training. So I was
same.
working in a
Okay.
gym doing group classes, personal training. I was also managing some of the gym at that time as well. So a lot of different aspects, but then I was also in school. So I was kind of balancing everything, but I made sure like at the end of the day, like I got to jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah. Yeah, I switched to Alliance. I think I was a two stripe white belt, and I switched because of work. I was working from home for a long time, which was great. And I took a job in Atlanta, and I needed to find a new place to train because otherwise I wasn't going to come home at 6, 7 o'clock at night and then go train after I'd been gone all day. Right?
Mhm.
I have a family, so but I looked up and Alliance Roswell had opened maybe 6 months or almost a year before, and it was one exit down from where I worked. It was like took less than 10 minutes to get there every day, so it worked out.
That's, like, perfect.
And it's really good when it works out that way. It's it's funny. I love hearing people's origin stories and like their first experiences with jujitsu because it's all the same, but there's also like a lot of similarities to it, right? The uncertainty and for those of us who stay in, right? I think they say once you get the purple belt, like you're staying to your black belt. Like very seldom do purple belts not make it to black belt.
Right, you just gotta
I'm sure
keep
you hope
showing
that's
up.
true.
Yeah, hopefully.
And yeah, I still I got to make sure I get past the blue belt blues and don't get caught up in that. But anyway, a lot of similarities where it kind of just takes over and becomes our lifestyle, and we start scheduling a lot of our lives around it. So completely understand what you mean
Right.
by that because I hear that a lot and I went through it myself. So, thinking about why people stay and why they leave, why do you think people really walk into the gym for the first time? I'm sure you've talked to a lot of new, white belts that have come and jumped on the mats. And what is there a consistent reason that you see?
I think a lot of people really want to build confidence, and that is something that you can do through martial art. Like, that's one of the biggest things, like, people are in shape already, like, I've heard that sometimes that they wanna get in shape, and that's a way
Yeah,
to do it, but it really comes down to, like, confidence. Either they've been bullied, they've had negative experiences with, like, assault, things like that, and they wanna come in and feel empowered.
right.
So at first, yeah, it's humbling, but it does give you, like, a sense of, like, learning, and you're able to practically apply it and then continue to grow, and you see that progress, and I think that's really important for people to have, like, once you're out of school, it's hard to see that, and you don't really have those kinda markers, even with, like you can only do so much with that with, like, a job, like,
Right.
so I think that having that kind of individual thing that you do is really important.
Yeah. I think it's important to have your own thing, right? To have
Yeah.
something of your own. I think that's just a human thing, right?
Mhm.
I mean, even if people are living in isolation and you hear like this is
Exactly.
a horrible example, but it's just something that popped in my head. But like prisoners who are serving life sentences for crimes or whatever, they get really focused on something, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to have something to keep you going, especially when you start seeing the transformational side of jujitsu. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons people stay. What do you think are some of the reasons people stay after they start? I mean, it could be that they start seeing themselves get in shape, but are there anything else that you think?
Mhm. I really think that community is a big part of it. And, like, I started after COVID, so I think that was also a big reason why people wanted to get out of the house and do something, but I think that the friendships and the connections that you make with your training partners, with, like, the instructors there, with just the whole community in that gym, like, that it's part of your routine, like, you see these people every single day, you kind of get connected with them outside of the gym, you'll meet with them outside of the gym, do different events, and I think that that is such an important part of, yeah, like, being a human and having that common interest and honestly, like, shared I wouldn't say trauma, but shared kind of struggle when you
Yeah,
go through the class
yeah,
together, like, you've all gotten those hard rounds in, you've all had to, like, learn a technique that was really confusing at first, and you, like, got through it, or, like, these things happen in that class, like, you have that shared experience, and then you just get connected with these people that outside of the gym, you probably would never really talk to. you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you said community because that's one of the things that I was going to bring up. It's yeah, obviously you feel like community's key to keep them there, and I think they do stay because of a sense of belonging
Mhm.
and also structure, right? Because some so did you do any other martial arts before jujitsu?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. That's
But
my one.
but anytime you see martial arts on TV, and it's usually like what karate or
Mhm.
kickboxing or something like that, there's a sense of structure there. I think that is appealing, and I was in the military for several years for a long time, and I enjoy the structure, but I don't see structure in jujitsu like hierarchy a lot. I see it in like the way technique is taught, right? Like you have jujitsu for those who just started. A lot of academies aren't just throwing people to the wolves. That's one thing I liked a lot about training at Alliance was the curriculum base versus going to something like a checkmat or something like that as a
Yeah.
white belt and you're rolling the second day. But I think at Master Traven's place, they roll pretty early on too.
They do, but they also do have those basics classes, and they focus on the fundamentals, especially when you're just starting, so I know that they still have that kinda class there. I
Yeah,
haven't gone through it because by the time I went to Travin, I was already purple belt, so I could go into the more advanced classes, but even the classes that he teaches, like, there'll be a mix of, like, white belt to black belt, but the classes can be very fundamental.
yeah.
So it's not, like, too much for anyone to get, but it's all important details for every single rank to still get.
I trained at Ironborn for a little while under Alex Daltro. I don't know if
Right.
you they're in Decula. They're affiliated under Traven. But yeah,
Mm.
I've always honestly that's one of the reasons I stay. And outside of it being, my thing that I do for myself, but it's the people. And as someone like yourself that's had to train at, several different gyms, it's always been a good community and a good experience.
Yeah. I think that's so important. And the structure, you are right about, like, having that as part of your routine. Because I don't know, even coming not to bring it back to it, but, like, even coming back from, like, COVID, like, you need you needed routine and something to, like, keep your days going, and I think that it did help, like, as part of, like, the recovery process of getting back to real life, having that, like, "I'm always gonna go to jujitsu," or "I always have this on this day." And then the routine of the class of, like, we're gonna go through technique, situational sparring, then live sparring, then finish off the class, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk to my teammates.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most powerful things about it. And sometimes people think they're showing up to learn how to fight, right? Which they are. But what they're really finding is discipline and like you said, that identity and healing, or even like you said, community is a huge part
Mhm.
about it. So, you know, kind of pivoting to talk a little more about transformation, which is kind of the main topic here. When we talk about transformation, we're talking about something deeper than getting into shape or learning submissions, which is fun. Both of those, I mean, those are definitely benefits, but we're talking about becoming a different version of yourself. And I started jujitsu when I was, I think, 42. Yeah, 42. So a little later in life. And I experienced transformation mentally, physically. But how has jujitsu changed you as a person? Would you say?
Feel like it's given me a whole different level of confidence in just my abilities. I went into jiu-jitsu, I was pretty just insecure about, like, just myself, I will say, like, I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, so I was insecure about, like, my knowledge and just how smart I was in general. Because comparing myself to, like, my classmates through normal school, college, I always felt a little behind or like I needed to work harder than everyone else around me, and it still, like, wasn't enough. So being able to kind of show myself that I could learn and that I could kind of get to a different level and a higher level than maybe the peers around me was really helpful for my confidence and also resilience, like showing myself that I can keep doing this thing that's really hard and not give up, especially when I'm going against like a higher belt and I'm getting like my butt whooped. But I don't give up. I keep moving, I keep trying, and then maybe one day the tables turn and I get them in something. And I think that the confidence aspect is like a big part of what has transformed. Like now I feel more capable, I feel more competent. I just feel like overall like a better version of myself.
Do you feel like it's made any character traits about yourself better or worse, but
Yeah.
mostly better? Because we all like to say, we have, or we all like to feel like we have strong character, but I think a lot of times character is built, you know, on the anvil a little bit, going through some things. Do you feel like it strengthened your character any?
Yes. And I don't know if it's like counterproductive to say this, but like humility, I feel like I got humbled really quickly when I saw like it does not matter how athletic you are going into this, like the technique of those of higher rank and just people that have been there longer, like they paid their dues, they're gonna know more. And I really feel like my ego got checked in a great way. Like I needed to know, like, okay, you gotta work harder. You're not as good as these other people because they've been there for longer. They've done the other techniques. And I think that that was a big thing that I learned.
Well, in your defense, there you were training with some
Oh, yeah,
powerhouse females and males.
definitely.
I mean, what Victoria? I
Oh,
would
yeah.
imagine she was what? I think she a black belt when you were training there. I know she's a black belt
She
now.
Victoria was it's so crazy because she was a blue belt when I started and
Oh,
went through
that's
the
right.
ranks so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I think a year after, she was purple and then brown and then black like that.
Can you believe she fought Fivon? Is
I
it Fivon?
know.
Like her last
So
worlds.
good. I
Could
was
you
so
imagine
amazed by
standing
her.
across the mat and that's your, or you look at your bracket and you're like, what?
Yeah, because then it was in the final, like, I couldn't imagine, like yeah, seeing the bracket and then seeing your name next to Fionn, and then having, like, the tight match that they did
Yeah, she
was
got her in her
insane.
fireman's carry takedown
Yeah, that was
almost.
clean, that was clean.
They did
I was
count that,
impressed.
right? I can't remember.
No,
I
yeah,
know
like,
she
you're right,
posted, but
got her fireman's carry,
I could not
and
believe
then
it.
Fionn could not pass her deep half. It was
Mm,
so cool, and it made me feel a lot better with how poorly I've tried to pass her deep half. I was like, "Yeah, okay,
yeah.
it's a tough deep half to pass.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
The
and
best in
and
the world
then
can't."
yeah, and Leo's the head instructor there, and he's all
Mhm.
about, half guard and
Yeah.
deep half, and gosh, I couldn't imagine training in that,
It was
the
tough.
headquarters during the time that you were there because it was a lot of people
They
I
were
know.
beasts. And,
Yeah,
me and Jacqueline, like, we were both she got not purple, she got blue before me, but we were both competing quite a bit, and we were allowed to go into the advanced class, like, both as white belts, and we were, like, the lowest ranked. We were some of the smallest people in that room,
yeah,
and I just remember, like, every day, like, having to learn how to make small wins and, like, create
yeah.
celebrations for those versus, like, "Alright, I'm not winning any of these rounds, but let me see if I can last a little bit longer in my spider guard, or if I cannot get swept in 2 seconds by this, like, whoever."
Oh, that's right, you play a lot of spider guard, don't you?
Yeah, I love my
Yeah,
spider
yeah.
lasso. Ooh, but then it was like, "Okay, well, I'm not gonna get to do the sweeps that I have learned, but let's see all the different counterattacks and all the defenses and all the passes." And it helped me in that way, and then, like, no matter who I was going against in competition, it wasn't gonna be harder than anyone in that room.
Oh, no way, not possible. I would agree with that, and then for the listeners, when she says Jacqueline, she's talking about Bad Jackie, and I know the listeners know who she is. She's been on a couple times, but continuing on with this train of thought, how has jujitsu affected your life off the mats? Have you developed more patience? I know you talked about more confidence, but for me, it helps me handle frustration and stress a lot too,
Mhm.
especially with the kids and my irritability is higher when I don't get to train a lot. I mean,
Yeah, I
is
feel
there
that.
anything that you noticed like that?
I feel I feel like I have more kind of like compassion for people. Like as someone that started off very new and had to go through like hard times of like not understanding something, I feel like I have like yeah, patience and compassion for like those that are like beginning or those that like mess up or make mistakes just in life, like not even just on the mats, but just my peers around me, like has having more patience for that and kind of trying to be more supportive because like that was so helpful for me when I was beginning and just have gone through jiu-jitsu is like having people that are in my corner that are supporting me and telling me that it's okay or giving me advice. So I try to do that to people around me that need it as well.
Yeah, I think that's what makes jujitsu so unique is, we talked about the physical side is very real, of course, but it's that internal work. And that's why I've been
Mhm.
so excited about our conversation because I think this is the thing that I'm most passionate about in jujitsu is how it just completely transforms people in a good way. But it's that internal areas where that transformation happens. So let's take a few moments and spend. You talked a lot about humility earlier. You talked about confidence. One thing we haven't talked a lot about is ego. Now, I never have had. Well, I guess depends on who you ask. A big ego, but in jujitsu we see it all the time, and if you had to kind of define the differences between what real confidence is and ego is in jujitsu, what would you say that is like? Where's that line between the two? Maybe for you, or just that something you perceived.
I feel like with ego, you kind of have this denial that anyone can be better or like give you anything useful, like any useful information. Confidence, I think that like it's having more hope that like you can do something, even if that means like eventually, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I like that.
yeah, because I think with ego, like you're just gonna not even consider that like someone's gonna be better than you, or and then they'll use all their strength or all whatever. When this person could have like great technique that you can learn from, and then that's where your confidence can come from, you know? And so if you see those opportunities where you can learn versus try to mask it and cover it up or say like, "Oh, well, like you're faster than me, you're stronger than me." Like those kind of excuses that you get from those with large egos, having the confidence to look stupid. Like, you know, and get your butt whooped by a tiny purple belt girl. Like that is okay, and that's where like you need to have confidence in yourself and know that it's okay and not fear that judgment,
Yeah.
but just be open. I don't know.
Do do you feel like you see more ego in uh, maybe rooms dominated by male jujitsu practitioners versus females, or do you see it the same? Like you've seen
You
some pretty
know,
ego filled females come into the mat that you've had to humble.
yeah, no shade, no tea, but
Yeah,
it's definitely both. Like
yeah,
no one's free from it. Like you can see it from men, and I think there might be a different dynamic when it's like man versus woman, but women definitely still have it as well. It's just like a human thing, but I definitely think that both men and women can have it. But I think that
yeah.
there does come like an aspect where like, and this is another thing that like someone told me that I think is really good is like guys have the ego that like they can't lose, and then women have an ego where like they don't think they can win, they shouldn't win.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because then you see a tough battle that like both genders have to overcome, and it's like men have to learn like they can lose and it will happen, and women need to understand that they can win and it will happen, and it's just working towards that. So there's like different ends of a spectrum.
Yeah, I like that. That's like totally opposite
Yeah.
thinking.
Right, but then
Wow.
it's like so when you go
That's
into
gonna be a
jiu-jitsu, you
great
like
soundbite.
hey,
That
there
is
we go.
awesome. I like that. That is
Perfect.
good. I
But
like that.
yeah, I think that there's just different obstacles that both have to get through. It just kind of looks different. So, like, maybe a woman doesn't have the same ego as, like, a man, but, like, it's still an ego, and it's still something to, like, overcome and kinda change your perspective, and then I think that the sport of jiu-jitsu really does give both man and women.
Yeah. Yeah, and it puts them in similar situations to overcome it too, right? To work through
Yeah,
it.
right?
Do you think getting humbled, well, position this question, why do you think, making the assumption that you do, but do you feel like getting humble is an important part of growth in jujitsu?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that if it doesn't happen, then you don't really see, like, the full kinda level of the sport. Like, I think it's like, necessary because I think that you need to fail in order to learn, and being humbled is an easy way to learn from failing, you know?
So you're kind of up the ranks now. You're purple belt, right? That's
Mhm.
that's that kind of the part in the journey where no one where you're not referred and grouped into the lower belts, right?
Right, I feel mid.
Are you are you still getting humbled? I mean,
I
you're
am
getting
humbled
right?
every single day. Every single day. My training partners at Frazada Jiu-Jitsu Academy it's nothing I can't even explain it, but there's such a growth mindset there. Everyone's trying to get better every single day, and so we're all just as consistent or they're more consistent than me, and I am so humbled, and I'm being humbled by those of my rank, higher in rank, lower in rank. Like, I get beat up by these blue belts every day. Every day. There's so much footage of me getting beat up by these blue belts, and it's amazing. I always thank them afterward because I learn from them. Like, I'm never, like, upset. Like, yeah, I don't like getting armbarred that much, but I'd rather learn from these high level competitors, no matter if it's, like, a little 16-year-old girl. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But
Well,
yes,
so
I absolutely get humbled.
yeah, I'm the same way, and I figured you probably were. I don't think that it doesn't seem. I don't know. I haven't seen too many black belts humbled, but maybe they just don't say it. I'm sure they experience it, but so I've done a full circle. I'm actually back training full time at the place where I started jujitsu, where I was at Iron Wolf, and it has been like I'd never trained there before because I spent most of my jujitsu journey in Alliance, right? That's where I got my blue belt. I did almost 3 years there. And like they are heavy in leg entanglements. I mean, like everybody heel hooks, everybody wrist locks. And like, in some of the bigger affiliations, like
Mhm.
and they do knee bars. Like you don't even do knee
Oh,
bars until
yeah.
like what brown belt and some of
Brown
the bigger
belt.
yeah, it's like
Brown belt.
no, white belt or knee barring.
Yeah.
And
No.
so I've had to go in where like technique wise and time under my belt wise, I shouldn't have, hard time with people. But then they'll grab my legs and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to get out of this because I have no experience with it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I feel that completely.
One of the kind of follow-up questions I had as we were, talking about the aspect of being humbled over and
Yeah.
over and all the way through the journey is what do you think are some of the things that people resist and it impacts their full transformation like ability is I think it's ego. I think if the ego gets in the way, you're not going to grow to like your best ability. I don't know if you agree, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. What would
Yeah.
you say?
I think it's relying too much and I'm so guilty of this, but relying too much on what you're good at and really veering away from what you're bad at. Like, if you know that you're good at, like, a certain guard or playing guard, or maybe it's passing, you're good at passing. If you only do that and you never go and expose yourself to those areas that you don't really feel that confident in, and, like, maybe you are, like maybe you're a purple belt and you're really, like, a white belt in back takes or X, Y, and Z. Like, I think that putting yourself in those vulnerable positions will help you grow, and that's something that not everyone does. They like to win, so they'll try to do the things that will help them win rather than learn all the time.
Yeah, that actually really spoke to me because I avoid the stuff I'm bad at like the plague. Like
Yeah,
I will not like play open guards. Like Spider, are you kidding? It's an amazing guard and it's probably a pretty good guard for someone like myself who's not really athletic, but like because when I first started doing jujitsu, I would always try to play these open guards and people would just blow right past me. But I didn't
right.
know the fundamentals of things like framing and posturing and stuff like that. But now maybe that's something I need to revisit the stuff that I suck at
Yeah,
because I just pull people in the half guard and hold them there until
exactly.
I can sweep them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'll do. I'll pull the spider lasso, and, like, you'll see it in so many of my competition videos, but I do rely heavily on what I know I'm good at, but
Yeah.
then my different guards like Delahiva aren't as developed, and I think that that can bring me further along in my game if I have something more well-rounded like that.
Well, I think Spider Lasso is such a good guard, though. I mean, it like if you keep them
I
broken
do like
down,
it.
there's just so much. And I think it's okay in competition to go with your A game. But I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
what you said is very important in that look, competition doesn't always go the way we hope. Like
Mhm.
you're not always running your A game the entire time.
Right, like, maybe it just doesn't happen.
Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah,
Right? And like that's
exactly.
exactly like you envision, pulling Spider Lasso and it going great, but then all of a sudden they do some kind of flip over you.
Right. You look
Like
for,
now
like, the
they're
best in the world at passing it, and it's like, "Alright, well, you gotta do something else, and if you don't have
yeah,
anything ready, then
yeah.
that's tough."
They You have to be Houdini sometimes to get out of a good spider lasso, though, I'll
Yeah.
tell you. But, I think the things that we're talking about here, I think these are the hidden gifts of jujitsu. And all of
Yeah.
this teaches us teaches us that confidence doesn't come from pretending to be strong and good at everything. It comes, I think, from surviving hard days and showing up again and being
Mhm.
willing to learn. I think that's another barrier sometimes that people don't think about, right? They get
Yeah.
caught, they're uncoachable, unteachable. And I think that kills transformation. I really do.
Yes. People think they know everything or they just show up. Like, you showing up is part of the battle, but it's not, like, the full thing. Like, you have to apply yourself to learn.
No, 100%, 100%. And, I think a lot of transformation comes through things like adversity. Trauma changes a lot of people. I mean, I think we've all to some level or degree experience some type of trauma in our life, unfortunately. But nobody gets, I guess the point I'm trying to make is no one for experience change by staying comfortable. And I think jujitsu always, day in, day out, forces us to be uncomfortable. And that's a huge part of transformation. Has jujitsu taught you anything about struggle that maybe you didn't know about yourself or just struggle before?
I think that it does teach me that, like, you can get through your kinda like it proves to yourself, like, you've gotten through, like, your hardest days so far, like, you're gonna keep doing that because especially early on, those days are hard. So if you can get through your white belt days, I feel like you can get through basically everything else.
Yeah.
Like, if you can
Almost in
survive
life,
being, like, the
right?
worst of the worst, I
Yeah.
swear, exactly, and I think just also knowing to never give up. Like, it might take you a few more losses to get to that win, but you'll never get to that win if you just give up. And that's something that I've always had to remember, like, yeah, quitting isn't gonna get you anywhere closer to your goals than if you struggled. So, going through the struggle, like, I tell myself that I almost have, like, a bank of, like, I owe my dues of failures before I get to my wins. Even if I get, like, tapped 10 times in a row, I'm like, "Alright, that's 10 failures closer to learning how to get out of this or, like, getting my win." So just paying
Yeah.
my dues,
I like
I think
that.
is a big thing. Yeah.
I like that. I would agree with that 100%. I did a solo episode not long ago about kind of letting the pressure of being good go in
Mhm.
jujitsu. And because I realized I used to beat myself up so bad, especially right when I got my blue belt. And there would be a really good young spry white belt that would just come
Yeah.
in and destroy me. And found myself so many times questioning, like, should I even keep doing jujitsu? Because I felt like terrible at it. But then I let that pressure go and realized exactly what you're saying, and that you should look at it as each time you're submitted, each time you make a mistake, yeah, that's growth, right? That's transformation happening right there,
Mhm.
right then. And without any of that, I think if we came in our first days on the mat and we dominated everybody all the way up to purple belt, right? Like you never
Yeah.
lost. It would be hard to fight that kind of ego, right?
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
did you see that movie Smashing Machine with The Rock? Have you watched that yet?
I
That
haven't.
yeah.
Oh,
So
I need to though.
it's a biopic about Kerr. What is his name? Is it Mark Kerr? Anyway, what happened was like he had a record of like 50-0, and then he gets beaten this Pride match, and it just sends him in a tailspin. Like they asked him before this match that he lost, like, you know, what will you tell yourself if you lose, or how will you? And he just could not fathom losing.
Mm.
And and the whole movie's unfortunately about his kind of decline and his drug addiction and stuff, but what it does show is that transformation when he accepts, hey, a loss isn't the end of the world, it's me learning. I just brought that up. Thinking about that playing out there. Do you think that jujitsu teaches people about losing, like how to
Yeah, how to
lose? I
take it
mean,
and how to
yeah,
use it as, like, a tool. I think that it
yeah,
really, because you always hear that, like, I mean, I've heard it a lot. Whenever I've lost, people will tell me, you either win or you learn." And that is, like, it's so hard to hear sometimes in the moment, but it's so true.
yeah.
And
Sounds
it's
so
it's
cliche, like, yeah, sure, whatever.
yeah,
Just
exactly, like, you wanna roll your eyes to it, but then, like, it is true, like, you're either winning or you're learning, and I don't know, it is just, like, the most, like, one of the basic things that comes from jiu-jitsu that, like, I just think is the most true. But at first you're like, "What? No, I don't like this."
I guess now's I guess we can get vulnerable here. Has jujitsu ever helped you through a bad time in life? I know it has for me. Has there ever been a time where you're just like, man, if it wasn't for jujitsu and if it wasn't for training, I don't know,
Definitely.
some dark
Yeah.
seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, like, so to get, like, more personal, I've been sober for, like, the past 6 months, and
Wow.
yeah, it's been
Congrats.
great.
Yeah.
It's hard for sure,
Gosh,
but
yeah. I couldn't
it's been
imagine.
really
Yeah.
transformative, and I give so much of that to jujitsu as, like, it's always been a consistent factor of my life that, like, no matter how my days go or no matter how life is or how crazy it is, like, I can always be so centered on the mat. Like, there's nothing else you can really focus on when you're in jujitsu. Like, you
Yeah.
can't be worried about whatever, like, is in external world. You gotta think about, like, the now of, like, "Okay, how do I pass this guard?" Or what are my issues right here? What's the next right thing to do? And I think that it's helped me a lot through, like, my sobriety journey.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I've talked to several people that jujitsu's helped with sobriety. I've been lucky in my life to where, well, maybe when I was in the military and young paratrooper, I probably drank more than I should have.
Mhm.
Like, Bad Jackie shared her story. I mean, her story is crazy. Like, just the whole everything
Right.
she
It's so
overcame.
inspiring.
And then my very last guest, and if you're not connected with her on IG, you should get connected with her. A wild ass warrior woman, man, she had a story, but she talked about it. She overcame her sobriety, and she's dealing with an injury right now. Like she can't train, and like
Yeah.
she's so worried about kind of like how this impacts. And it's true though. It helps not just with stuff like that. I think with emotion. I think for me, it helps with depression and PTSD a lot. Right? It helps me
Mhm.
with anxiety. I mean, I didn't for years have outlets for any of that stuff, and I was a lot more irritable and short with people, and just I wasn't in a good headspace. And I think and then maybe it's not just jujitsu. I mean, I think anything that you're passionate about can keep you in the right headspace if you allow it to.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about you mentioned in or we mentioned in your bio and you kind of sent it over. You talked about empowerment
Yeah.
of women. Um, let's talk about that, right? You know, from your perspective as a woman in jujitsu, and I've learned a lot from the past four guests on the podcast have been women in
Yeah.
jujitsu. What kind of transformation do you think women experience through jujitsu?
I think it can, like we've talked about before, is like a lot of confidence and belonging. And I think that feeling powerful as a woman and feeling like you have strength is such an important thing that like there's not a lot of places for us to get it. And I
Mm,
do think that jiu-jitsu is a great way where like your technique can get you so far. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, it's like the technique that's or like how you use like leverage of your body that really sets a tone and gets you far. So
right.
I think knowing that you're capable of so much is and can go so far in it
Yeah.
is really important and very empowering
Do you
and
think
something
there are
that
any
happens.
barriers that they face that women face?
Yes, I mean it's alone just biologically strength. Like we just I'm not gonna say can't, but it's a lot harder to get to that level of strength that men have. Takes a lot more.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that it can be tricky when like if you're in like a more male dominated room to feel like your technique works when you're dealing with men level of strength because like it does matter, you know? Like people will say like it doesn't always matter, but it does sometimes, like a lot. So I think that that can be an obstacle that women deal with, but
Right.
that is why I kind of want to be more of a role model to women and to just young girls that are thinking about training or just in general in life, like so that they have something to look up to, like, no, like I can do this, you know?
Have you ever had one of those moments where, like, maybe someone from the kids' class or someone like say, "Oh, I want to compete like you or be like you"? I wonder,
Yes.
like,
My
what
gosh.
did that feel like?
It's really the most special feeling. I remember traveling down, I think it was a Miami Open, but I was purple belt at this time. And I didn't know this, but there was like a little girl that was following me at each match, like from my both my gi and no gi days, and was just like following me around, talking to her mom about me. And then when I got time to do the podium, she was like giving me so many congratulations, asked to take my picture, and like we took a little selfie. And she said,
Celebrity
"Yeah, she wants to
status.
compete just like me when she was older." I was like, "This is so cool," because she has this role model and someone that she can look up to. That like if I were her age, like I wish I would have had that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's so
I think that would be really life changing, and you know what it also does? It makes those taps not hurt as bad, right? Like all the adversity on the mat to know that like
exactly.
you can be that kind of role model. How important? And you and I both know it's important to be in a non toxic environment. How important is it that the training environment for women specifically and for men, but women kind of is what we're talking about here. How important is it to them whether they stay or go? Like the safety and like what makes the good training environment? What needs to be absent? What needs to be present? That kind of thing.
That's a great question. And it's one that I really think is important for every gym. No matter if like you're a man or a woman, the women's program and the way that it's run, that part of the culture is really important. And I think that it does set the tone for a lot of the culture of the gym, just of how it is. And I think that it's good to have like-minded women that want to get better. No matter what the goals are, no matter if they're doing it for a hobby, for competition, for self-defense, like whatever the reason is, and for there not to be almost like a competition among the women. Like you want everyone to grow. So there shouldn't be times where like you're mad at them for doing better or for how like if you get beat up by one of them, it shouldn't be an issue. it should be like, "Okay, like, this is so helpful, like, thank you for, like, teaching me." And vice versa, like, you're there not just to, like, crush the souls of these other girls, you're there to do technique and train together. So I think that having a more growth mindset and growth focus of a whole group is
Yeah.
better. You don't want any of, like, the complaining or talking behind each other's backs, like, that's where the toxicity comes, and I think that's when you'll start to hold back on your technique because you don't wanna start any issues, things like that, and that
Yeah.
just causes a whole bunch of drama.
Yeah, that word right there, drama. That's what comes to mind is just, and again, it could be male or men and women, but I mean,
Oh,
men
yeah,
have drama
definitely.
too, right? I noticed like in jujitsu gyms sometimes, like even the guys get more kind of clicky, right?
Yeah,
Have you seen like cliques form in women
definitely.
with the women and guys in some of these
Yeah,
places?
you'll
It's
see that,
crazy.
and you'll see, like, sometimes there will be, like, and this it's okay to a certain extent, but, like, those that won't roll with certain people, you know?
That's weird, right?
I
Yeah.
if it's, like, not that much of, like, if you're solely not rolling with them because they're gonna beat you, like, you're just only holding yourself back and them,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know?
100%. Well, it's different if like you're not comfortable because you think they're gonna hurt you, like they're not
Right.
safe or they're kind of
Yeah.
creepy.
If they're
That's
safe,
but
but
yeah,
it's,
but
like,
like if you're
ego.
avoiding them because you know it's gonna be a tough roll and you're not sure if you're gonna come out on top, yeah, that's that's not the right way
That's
to
like, that's
do
what are
it.
we
Yeah.
doing here?
Yeah. Why are we here? I would purposely choose the higher belts to roll with, knowing full
Exactly.
well I'm about to get just it handed to me. Like when John, do you remember John Madonna?
Yes, John Mandato, he's awesome. But oh my
One of the
god.
best humans I've ever met. And
Yes, he's so cool.
anytime I was in a room where he was there, I choose him first. Like, there's no
Yeah,
way I'm beating him, but I'm gonna learn,
right.
and I'm gonna learn. It's gonna be safe. No,
You
you
might
don't
get these, like,
go.
small wins. Like, you might, like,
Yeah,
have your
yeah.
guard retained a little bit longer or get closer to passing his or whatever it is. Like, there can be
Yeah.
small wins.
Yeah, I remember I passed his guard. Well, I thought I passed his guard,
Yeah,
but he
I get
somehow
that.
gets that knee in there.
Oh,
He's the
yeah.
most flexible, like 50
His
plus
hips
year
are
old
crazy.
guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's I think conversations like this is matters. And I'm so
Mhm,
glad you put that when you sent over kind of your bio and some of the things that you're passionate about, because in the right environment can absolutely change someone's life for the better or the worse. I mean,
mhm,
there's men and women that's had their lives ruined in a bad environment in jujitsu, and I hate to say that, but we know that's true. And people need to understand, especially the coaches and professors and gym owners, that it is important to make sure your academy or school or whatever you call it is a safe environment for everyone there and positive. And I remember in the military when we would get ready to deploy, and I deployed a lot. This is going to sound bad, but there's no better way to say it. If we had a problem person, someone that we kind of felt brought others down and would cause drama over there, we would get rid of them. We'd make sure that they either go to another platoon or they just wouldn't deploy or what have you. But like once you let something in, or
yeah.
once you
Six
accept a
one.
standard, it's the new standard.
That is very true. I like that.
Yeah.
It does matter. And, like, hearing out your students for that, whatever, like, environment it is, like, that matters for the culture too. Because then, like, you wanna feel heard, you know?
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's imperative, right? I mean, you got to be at a place where you feel like if something comes up, you can bring it up and you'll be listened to, not belittled. And I think everyone who listens to the podcast knows that things have played out over social media over the past several months. But I think what that should have done is really kind of woke everybody up to the importance of a safe training environment. But it kind of brings me back to community, and there's a couple other topics. I know we're we're running a little over an hour. Do you have a few more moments to stay
Oh, yeah,
around?
definitely.
Good, good.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about podcasting. It just the conversations just go.
Mhm.
There's also this. there's something really powerful about community in jiu-jitsu, and we talked a little bit about it earlier. For a lot of people, the gym's become more than just a place to train. It's become a second home.
Mhm.
You mentioned earlier how important community is for keeping someone coming back, right? Or the reasons they stay in jiu-jitsu. But how important is community in someone's transformation, do you feel?
Someone's
That's a big
transformation.
question.
Yeah, I'm like, "Whoa." I think that well, you personally you do have to know kinda what you wanna focus on or, like, what you're reaching towards, and if you know that, then your community should and could really promote that. Like, I felt that myself. I'm really focused on competition, and it took me trial and error to really figure out and find, like, a good home where I felt very supported in that, and the women that I'm around at Frazado's, like, they support me in every way possible, and they have such a growth mindset. They all are very driven and focused on competition and just being the best versions of themselves possible, and I think that that has helped my transformation as a competitor. So there's different ways like that that I think can happen no matter where you are or whatever your goals are, but personally, that's what it's done for me.
Yeah, that's great you brought that up because one of my questions I wanted to ask you is can the right training partner accelerate growth? And it sounds like absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yes,
have
I can't even express how much I feel like I've grown in these past few months, and it's because of my training partners. Like, yes, I'm putting in the work going, but it's the people around me and the people I'm training with and the people I'm asking questions to. Like, they're the people that are helping me get to where I am. Because you know that saying that's like, you're, like, the most similar, you become the outcome of, like, the 5 people around you, like, the closest 4
wow.
people around you.
It sounds like
Like,
that's
I
probably a
feel that.
book or something.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
from something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not making that up,
No, no, I know. I've never
but
heard that, but I understand. It's like careful of the company you keep, right?
exactly, and,
Yeah.
like, I see the women that I'm surrounded by, and they're world champions, like, UFC, BJJ champions, like, amazing people
Crazy.
that, like, the highest level, like, world class, and I'm around them. So,
I'm gonna
like,
have to
I'm
come
just
train there.
exactly. Hey, right? Exactly.
What makes a good training partner? Is there some characteristics that you think stand out that like, hey, a good training partner will have A, B, and C?
I think biggest thing is they will go 100%. Like, they're not gonna hurt you, but they're trying with their 100% effort. So, that can be a slower pace. It doesn't have to be, like, crazy, like, scraps. It just has to be, like, intentional, they're putting in the effort, and they're not just, like, goofing around. Like, yes, those roles are important, and they need to be careful with you as well, like, considering your safety, like, they shouldn't be putting you in danger where, like, you're gonna seriously hurt yourself, like, considering your training partner is very important, but I think that giving your all is the best thing you can do for your training partner, and the best thing you can do as a training partner.
Yeah, I think now I think about that question. I think I subconsciously asked that because that really actually spoke to me because I, I find myself like when I'm training with people that I know for a fact I'm better skill wise, and maybe it's another blue belt or it's a white belt, right? I find myself sometimes holding back a good bit and kind of, if I'm hearing you correctly, I could actually be doing them a disservice by doing that.
Right? Because like,
Yeah.
can't you think of the times where, like, I'm sure, like, Rodrigo, he didn't take it easy on you,
He didn't take it
you know?
easy on me. Yeah. Well,
And then you
when I,
learned so much from that.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Like, if
Yes.
he gave you stuff, then, like, he's holding back on your learning.
Yeah, I'm sure he had to hold back some because he would have literally
Yeah,
killed me. But
true.
it brings me to my training partner slash nemesis, and I know he's going to listen to this. He listens to the episodes.
Nice.
The blue belt, and Dark, he would kill me every round. I mean, he submitted me like 7 times in 5 minutes, like that
Oh
bad.
god.
Like even when I was a blue belt, and he may be a purple belt now, or if he's not, he should be. But yeah, to your point, I learned more from him than I've learned from any other training partner to date. To this day, I've learned more from him.
Right. And you, like, appreciate it, like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
nothing bad, and I
100%.
think that some people, like, almost hold back because they don't want that kind of resentment, but there shouldn't
Yeah.
be, you know?
So if we kind of sum that up, when it comes to community, when you combine challenge, humility, discipline, I know we haven't talked a lot about discipline,
True,
but
yeah.
you combine all of that with community, it makes sense why jujitsu becomes so meaningful in people's lives. I think it's
Mhm.
pretty easy to see. Kind of, I guess as we get close to kind of closing out here, Ainsley, when you train long enough and you've been training a while now, you're purple belt, you start realizing the lessons don't just stay on the mats, right? We do take some of this stuff into life. Um, I asked you earlier, what have what has jujitsu done for your character and kind of improved, but what life lessons has jujitsu given you that you carry into everyday life? I think you mentioned earlier about resiliency, if you want to expound on that, but maybe what are the top one or two or three lessons you take with you daily?
One lesson that I like, the first lesson I would say is that, like, you get what you put out, so whatever effort you put into jujitsu, that's what you get out of it, like, and that's how you're gonna get better. And then that's how it is in life, like, if you want to get better at a skill or you want some sort of goal to be achieved, you have to put in that effort, and then whatever effort you put in, like, you will receive back. I think that's an important thing that is so, like, shown in jujitsu, and you can see the exact payoff, like, right then with, like, how much effort you put in versus not.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that actually that's not it. No, you get what you put in,
Mhm.
right? That's a better one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I like
Yeah,
that.
because if you're not putting in that extra time, or let's say you're putting the extra time, you're studying on your own, you're drilling, you're very intentional with your drilling, like, you're gonna see yourself get so much further than if you kind of half-ass the
Yeah.
training, or you're not really there, or you just kind of aren't focused or intentional with your roles, like, you don't go in with any goals or things that you're intentionally focusing on, and I think that those small things can really pay off big, and that's how you get a lot out of it. But I think another one would be, I said it before, but, like, just never giving up. Like, you have to be tenacious in jujitsu, and that's how you're gonna get anywhere in life, is you have to just keep showing up no matter what.
That's one of my favorite words, tenacious. You ever heard of the band Tenacious D?
No.
My
Now I wanna listen.
God. It's Jack
They're good?
Black's band. Yeah. Yeah. Do you like Jack Black? He's
Yes,
got
I
a
know him,
band.
I know him.
Yeah, so this movie came out called Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Just we're not going to get into it because you said some amazing stuff, and I don't want to derail us.
No, you're
But
good.
you got to check that out. So Tenacious
Okay, I
D.
will.
How has jujitsu helped change the way you deal with setbacks, failures in life, relationships, stuff like that, like the real personal stuff? As they're,
Mhm.
maybe it's the same, right? Maybe it's this too will end, right? Like
Right.
this round will end. The buzzer will
Exactly,
go
like,
off.
yeah. I think, cause yeah, these throughout jujitsu, I've definitely had lots of just, like, personal issues, relationship issues, just so many challenges and obstacles that come up that just are life, but I think knowing that, like, it's only sharpening you. Like, no matter how tough it is, like, honestly, the toughest roles or the toughest things in life make you the strongest, so, like,
Yeah.
no matter how, like, hard a situation is or how, like, heartbreaking something can be, I think that it's kind of helping prepare you for the other end of the spectrum. So, like, yeah, biggest heartbreaks can bring the most happiness, but you're gonna have to go through those levels of human emotion to get there. And so I trust that, like, those hard times are only preparing me for the better.
Yeah.
And same with jujitsu, like, those hard roles are preparing me to be a better person, a better, stronger person. So in the future, I can feel the opposite and I can
Right.
feel the empowered part. But I have to go through that like draining and kind of like almost disempowering feeling to get to that empowered feeling.
Yeah. I am. Well, do you think there's anything that people misunderstand about jujitsu? Like, maybe not from a transformational, but just like, how do I want to say this?
Think
Yeah.
think that people think that it has to do with other people. Like there's too much about like I have to go against this person or I have to prove it to these people, like too much external when it's such an internal journey. And the sooner that you understand that and know that it's about your personal growth and your mindset, your well-being, and like what is best for you, you will find success. But if you're doing things for other people or you're doing things because you want certain external validation or whatever it may be, you're gonna be held back.
Yeah. I feel like I'm on one of those websites, those quote websites where you read something stupid like you've dropped so many of these like things, right?
Oh my
That's
god.
so cool. Yeah, it's not about everybody else and the people. It's about,
Yeah,
well, you hear it. You hear a lot of professors say, be better than you were the day before, or like that's the
exactly.
only
You
improvement.
versus you.
Because if you compare yourself to others in jujitsu, you'll quit like the next day because it's,
Exactly.
yeah, there's always someone.
That's like the easiest way to get in your head.
Yeah, yeah. So let's I have a couple more questions kind of to close this out. These are going to be pretty deep and broad, so hang on. Who has jujitsu helped you become?
Think a strong woman, because I don't think when I started I was.
When
I
you say
was like a
strong, do you mean
19-year-old.
physically or do you mean
I mean,
all
I mean
around
like
or?
all overall, mentally, but also physically. Like I feel like when I started, I was a lot like lankier. I wasn't as strong. I couldn't move my body as well. I
Mm,
think it helped me become a more strong, like physically, like person. But I also think that it's helped me mentally. Like I would give up so much easier when I was starting, but now I do feel like I have so much more like grit and heart where like I will not give up that easy. And I think that's
yeah.
why I feel like a strong woman. And at first, like, I was so young that, like, I did feel like just like a little girl, but now I can, like, say, like, "Okay, yeah, no, strong woman, like, that's me."
Feel like you belong on the
Yes,
mat, right? Like you
exactly.
have
I
a chair
feel way
now
more confident.
because your toughness, your tenaciousness.
Mm.
Love that word. Has you where you're supposed to be. What part of the journey are you most grateful for?
I'm grateful for the transformations. Like, this past transformation has been transitioning gyms, but it's kinda just like you have to look back and, like, look deep into yourself and, like, what you want. That's what I had to kind of figure out, and I took so much time. I was going to so many different gyms, cross-training all around Atlanta before I really landed in, like, my spot, and I think that that really helped me in my journey figure out what I wanted. So, it is good to feel comfortable and, like, stable where you are, but I do think that those, like, uncomfortable, like, situations and, like, positions that you put yourself in where you're, like, more vulnerable and things are a little more uncertain, like, they can get you further in life. So, I do appreciate those more transformative times.
Yeah. What would you say to the jujitsu practitioner who's going through a hard season right now? Maybe it's an injury, or maybe it's they find themselves in one of those environments, or just any tough time. Maybe it's life. Maybe they lost a parent. Maybe they came out of a relationship. Like, what would you say, like, to them to help them activate the transformation that they can experience?
I would say to remember your why, like, why you started
Mm,
in the first
yeah,
place. And if you don't know, or if that's changed, or if it is changing, like, figure that out, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Keep it in the front of you, right?
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
like, Yeah, even if you're injured, like, if you have a certain goal, like, you can still be reaching towards it, it's just a season. So, get what you like, do what you need to get through this season, but the goal doesn't change, it's just, like, where you are in that journey. And, like,
Yeah,
when things happen, like, things come up, like, it's still important to remember your why and to
yeah,
stay consistent in, like, what you're doing.
yeah, yeah. I think that's great. Again, just like powerful word after powerful word here. I have no doubt in my mind. I waited the right amount of time and found the right person to talk about this with. Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
glad.
This has been such a meaningful conversation, and it's not something I wanted to do as a solo episode because it's just so much to it. And I think this is
Mhm.
one of those topics that reminds people why they started, why they stayed, why jujitsu becomes so much more than just a sport, because it's not a sport. Like I don't do sports. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a community that I'm a part of. It can humble
Mhm.
you, challenge you, rebuild you, all the things that we talked about. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective, your journey, your insight. When are you competing again? What's the competition calendar look like this year? I mean, there's some
Well,
stuff coming up.
yeah, I know. I won't be doing pans this year. I know, my back's been pretty bad. I had some hip flexor issues, and then, like, my back started overcompensating, so it's
Oh my God, it's
I've been
March.
rehabbing that.
Pans is this month, right?
Yeah, pans is in, like, 2 weeks, so I have, like, a lot of my friends are going, and I'm so happy for them. I'm so excited.
My friend Randall's competing in pans. He's like Master
Really?
6. I joke with him, tell him he's Master's like 15, but we just have this.
Uh,
Anyway,
That's just being crazy.
yeah. Oh gosh, I don't think I'm gonna. My oldest son is getting married. I think when pans is going
Aw,
on. So
congrats.
yeah, yeah, I'm excited and bummed at the same
Man,
time because
that's
I've
awesome.
got a kid that's getting married. Anyway,
Yeah. So
but
hopefully in, like,
no,
next 2 or so months, I'm gonna be back out there, but
yeah,
yeah, just
doing
rehabbing that right now.
IBJJFs. Do you do new breeds and stuff like that, like
I do
ADC?
I have not done a new breed yet.
Yeah,
I am kinda scared of ADCC, I'm not gonna lie. I will say
yeah.
that with my
I
full
am
chest.
never doing one of those. It's
Have so much respect
insane.
for those people that do it, and
Yeah,
I will say that, like, they do teach it at, Frazato's, like, he does a great job with, like, simulating those certain rule sets. So, like, there's no excuse for me to not do it, but I am very intimidated by it right now, for sure. That is part of the growth journey that I need to go on. But I've done a Naga before, and I want to do more like the new breeds and Nagas. I wanna do more local
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I'm thinking about jumping
And
into some new
Bujitsu.
breeds.
I love NFC.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask. That's right. You have done one of those, right, or a couple of those? Yeah.
I've done one of those super fights, and I've done the Bujitsus, and I
You
love
did the
them.
Brujitsu? What was that like? That was I
It
hear
was
those are
so fun.
crazy. I hear those are just like wild.
They are the most fun. That's the thing, like, when you say community, like, community is there.
Yeah,
It is so awesome. I love that, like, venue, it being at Monday Night Brew. It's
yeah,
dope. Cause then there's, like, a whole bunch of barrels of beer right there. It's so funny. Like, what is it's so, like, pretty there. I don't know. I love the venue, and I love the energy that they bring it at NFC. It's always
yeah,
a great crowd, and, like, yeah, it's
yeah.
hype, but, like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. NFC
I
does a
love it.
great job of making it like feel like a legit kind of real professional thing. So
It is,
anything
so I definitely wanna do that again.
yeah, anything to share to the listeners like where they can connect with you or anything like that?
I am very active on social media, on my Instagram at Ainslie Armstrong, so
So
just keep
IG.
up with me on there. Yeah, the IG.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again for being on. It's been a great
Thank you so much for
conversation.
having me.
Yeah, and to everyone listening, I hope this episode is a reminder that jujitsu is so much more than just a sport, a hobby, and what's around it. It's transformational. And if this conversation's resonated with you, share it with your teammate, coach, your favorite training partner, or someone that's been thinking about stepping on the mat, right? So until next time, keep your passion brewing, and we'll see you again for the next episode.